Welcome back to the Woodworking Talk Show. A couple of notes before we get started. First, if you're curious about the vast world of YouTube beyond the woodworking and DIY space, I want to put in a plug for my other podcast, Chad and Steve Have a Podcast, where Chad Reynolds and I have conversations with a wide variety of YouTubers, from OG YouTubers such as Wheezy Waiter and Michael Buckley to current popular creators such as Stuart Hicks, JJ McCullough, Squirmy and Grubs, Tiffany Ferguson, Practical Engineering, The Gamer from Mars, 12 Tone, Dad, How Do I, Unnecessary Inventions, Epic Gardening, Jared Poland, Cassandra Arson, Mikey Bustos, and many, many more. That's Chad and Steve Have a Podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts or at chadandsteve.com. Hey, by the way, Evan and Katelyn, you guys still doing your podcast?
We are going to. We have 7 channels now, so it's kind of a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
And we are kind of like in the ramp-up stages of 2 that we've finally figured out. And you know how much like the beginning stages of a channel.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys. We'll definitely have to get into more of that because that's crazy. Anyways, did you know that you don't need to spend a lot of space or time or money to learn woodworking? I designed an online course to get you started building your first project this weekend. No experience necessary. It's a comprehensive step-by-step approach called The Weekend Woodworker. And I want you to get started by downloading my free guide to getting all the tools you'll need for less than $1,000. Head over to mytoollist.com and check it out. On March 24th, 2017, Katelyn and Evan posted their first video to a YouTube channel that they decided to call Evan and Katelyn.
We actually spent a lot of time on that name.
I was just going to ask you about that. Did you guys have any like arguments over, okay, whose name comes first?
Well, actually, Katelyn started a website first, even before the YouTube channel.
I did. I started a blog before the channel. We were kind of blogging our house updates because we bought an older house and we're fixing it up. And I set the name. So anyone who's like, how come it's not Katelyn and Evan? I chose it. I don't know why. It's kind of arbitrary.
And I think, we actually ran the blog for about a year before.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking about it, though, and Evan and Katelyn, I think, is a little easier to say than Katelyn and Evelyn. Or Kate. See, that's what I wanted to do. I want to say Evelyn because I'm so used to thinking now I've got it backwards. I'm so used to thinking Evan and Katelyn that to do it backwards, it seems hard. It's harsh on my ears.
Yes. Yeah, it feels wrong now.
Well, I'm glad you didn't get into any arguments over that.
We tend not to argue that much.
That's good. In the first 20 seconds of that first video, they established their high-energy lifestyle format and instantly became the cutest, giggliest DIY couple on the platform. On that same day, they actually posted a channel trailer, which tells me they really had it together and had given this whole YouTube thing some actual thought. But wait. They posted 4 more videos on that same day. We're going to have to get to the bottom of this sorcery. Evan and Katelyn's channel features a wide variety of fun, silly, and useful DIY projects. Everything from woodworking to metalworking, candle making, props, costumes, electronics, even cooking. And my personal favorites, their cat projects. For Joobie, their cat and supurrvisor. Dad joke. In addition to all the lifestyle content they create for their main channel, they have a litany of smaller channels that would boggle my brain to keep straight. And they live stream on Twitch. Oh, and they have a robot. Oh, I love this. They've got a robot named Ramsey, which I thoroughly endorse. Hey, guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So you guys, I was looking on your channel. You joined YouTube in 2013. I presume as a user before uploading. It took you until 2017 before you posted your first video. What were you guys doing during that period?
That was actually for the blog. Sometimes on the blog we would publish like very short, very poorly filmed, phone recordings of stuff we were doing that we just couldn't communicate in photos. And so we would just host it on YouTube for the purpose of the blog. None of that is on YouTube anymore.
Yeah, that's all gone. Yeah.
That's all gone.
I think it's just Katelyn in our shower scraping caulk from the corner of the shower with a dull
flathead screwdriver, just grumbling to myself. It was mostly that.
But like I mentioned in that intro, it looked like you really had it together. You knew, okay, we're going to hit this YouTube thing hard. We're going to do a channel trailer. We're going to have it looks like you had already shot 4 or 5 videos, right? And then you just posted those all on the same day?
Yeah.
Is that part of the overall strategy?
It was very strategic. We started YouTube at a time where a lot of people had already made it their full-time business, so we knew exactly. We knew that was possible, and our whole reason for starting the channel was, we had been working our 2 separate 9-to-5 jobs, and we were like, I don't get to hang out with my favorite person enough. Like, how can we get rid of those jobs and make a job where we can hang out all the time? And so we did go into YouTube hoping that we could turn it into a job. And so the strategy of having a batch of videos done and the channel trailer was if someone came across our channel, we didn't want our any video they came across to look like a one-off. We wanted our channel to look like it was somewhat established, even if there were 0 subs. Like, oh, these people are actually doing regular uploads. Maybe I'll subscribe. And also, we wanted to have a variety of project types. So we strategically, we did like a garage makeover and a concrete project and a woodworking project and a few others, just to make sure that, we had a few different ways to snag people's interest if they happened across it.
Yeah, from the beginning, we always wanted to be able to do projects that we were the most excited about and, that we would have the most fun doing. And we really, we saw, even when we were starting back then, people getting, trying to escape their niches and having trouble with that. So we wanted to, never start in any small niche. We kind of intentionally wanted to present ourselves in that way so that expectations didn't get established. Because expectations on YouTube, it's a big thing with audience,
Looking through the comment sections of your videos, it reminds me very much of family vloggers and kind of the way that their audience are in a lot of ways in tune just to watching mostly you guys, and they like to see. Do you find that there's a mix of that people are tuning in to watch you and some watch the projects, or is it half and half? How do you judge that?
I think the projects are kind of like the foot in the door hook, especially for people who might not have seen anything from our channel before. But I think that most of our audience, hopefully most of our audience just likes hanging out with us, and the project is just kind of the excuse to hang out. That's always what we would hope for, because then that frees us up to tackle whatever project we're most excited about. And we do try to, in our filming style and editing style, just keep things very casual and chatty and let ourselves go off on tangents. And if we don't super focus on the project for a chunk of it, that's okay, because we're having fun. And so I think it works out that people are there just to kind of hang out and watch us do something, no matter what it is. And I do think that the project itself is probably not the main focus for most of our regular audience members.
One of our viewers left a comment once, was like, I felt like I just went over to my friend's house and hung out with them for 30 minutes and then left, but forgot to say anything while I was there. And I'm like, that's great. That's a comment that really makes us happy, because we like the hangout vibes. And, I think that's something that's also really sustainable for us, because we want to keep on making videos long term, and we don't ever want to feel like we're having to, not be ourselves. And I think that in some ways, putting our personalities first is a big filter. Not everyone likes our personalities. We are kind of strange, kind of loud and stuff. And And it's okay if people don't like that. It kind of works as kind of like, we didn't fully do this intentionally from the beginning, but it kind of acts as a filter. If people don't like that, then they don't watch, and that's okay. And then we keep our community around people who generally like us, which is nice.
Do you like it when people call you cute and adorable? Because it's got to be like the number one thing you hear from people all the time, huh?
I mean, it is nice. I think the things that we like
It's
seeing the
cute.
most are when people will like point out something funny from the video,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
or like something funny we did in the edit, or like make jokes and things like that. Because then it makes us laugh reading their comments, and those are always our favorite ones to like go through and find. And we still read a lot of comments and try to respond to as many as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great sign when you look through comments and people are like quoting things that you said
Yeah.
in the video and different things you had. Yeah.
And Katelyn will also like sneak in little like bits or tiny little hidden things. And like when people notice like the extra effort that Katelyn put into the edit to like sneak that little thing in, Caitlin's like, yes, that hour was worth it. Or whatever it was, you know?
See, I think I need some tips on how can I make my videos more cuter. That's
Animals?
More
animals.
cat content.
Yes, I've had pretty good luck with that sometimes, especially over the past year. So I know you guys have been together for 10 years, and I've read your backstory, origin story. Why don't you give us a brief summary of how did you guys meet and how did you come together for this collaboration of personal and professional life?
Oh man. So we met in college.
I had a crush on her right away.
Yeah, Evan had a crush on me freshman year. I was dating someone, and then
I didn't like him.
yeah, and then later on, around
So he didn't
junior
come to your
year-
wedding.
No. Around junior year, I got a crush on Evan, but he was dating someone, so we were kind of in this like friendship limbo. Not limbo, but like we were just friends throughout all of college, and at various points had crushes on each other. And then about a year after college, we were both single at the same time for the first time, or maybe not the first time, but for the first time since we had both had our crushes.
Yeah.
And we started dating, and within a couple months, we're looking at rings, and just like knew we were going to get married.
I used to go to Katelyn for relationship advice, and like
Oh yeah,
say,
we
like,
would go to each other for relationship advice in
we-
college.
we knew everything about each other.
Yeah.
We had, you know, like there were no walls up.
Yeah.
There was no like nothing to cut through for us. So we started on a great, you know, base.
Yeah. And then we bought a house. We actually bought the house that we were fixing up before we got married. We bought a house, got married, and I guess a few years after that is when we started thinking, man, we don't get to hang out enough.
Yeah.
You
And I
know,
think-
we want to do something different, like
Did
work-wise.
Did
so
I
we can't.
quit before or after those thoughts?
You quit before those.
Okay, yeah. I was doing
Thoughts.
consulting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, at you know, doing engineering work, there was a point where I, you know, had like quarter life crisis or something like that, like thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life and I don't like it. And like, you know, with engineering, the tendency as you like progress as an engineer is you specialize more and more in your field, because that specialized knowledge is what people will pay a higher salary for. And I realized that I was going down the wrong path and I needed to stop. But the job that I was in, it was kind of more of a startup vibe, which means everyone worked a ton and, you know, late nights and always exhausted. And I just didn't have enough time at that job to think about, I didn't have the time and energy to think what I want to do next. Because that's such a big decision and it takes so much energy and time. So I quit and moved to consulting, and that's when I had a little bit of breathing room in my head to think about what's next. And interestingly, like, you know, I don't want to go on to the story for too long, but we actually started thinking about selling products, and we started documenting what products we were making and the experience of selling them at like West Elm and other stores. And then that's what led to Instagram and social media, which then led to YouTube.
And after doing this so long, do you ever find it like hard to separate the Evan and Katelyn personal couple from the Evan and Katelyn brand?
Not really, because like even though we do a variety of content, I think it is like the times where we're making content and the things that we make content about are very separate from times where we're not making content. So like we're always going to have our things that are just for us. Now that doesn't mean we aren't working all the time, because we are working all the time.
That's the one thing we're working on changing.
Yeah, we haven't we've slowed down on the main channel, but we keep bringing in all these other things that are exciting. Yeah. And so we're still working on slowing down on work, but I don't feel like we've had issues like separating our like real life relationship from our Evan and Katelyn business.
And I think that doing this isn't for everyone. I mean, it is kind of all consuming in some ways, but I think, I don't know when we were having this thought, but like a decent way into this, we were already full-time. We'd already made all these changes in our life and everything. And we were going for a walk. We often go for night walks. That's our like decompression,
so we have time to go on
catch up. Like, also we're in Texas, so it's hot during the day. But we were on one of our night walks, and we were kind of thinking about our lives and, what kind of led us here, maybe even like not like unconsciously. And from a very young age, both of us loved creating. Katelyn did a lot of art. I liked tools and making and engineering. I always knew I was going to be an engineer. My childhood dream was just to have a big workshop with every tool in it that I can make anything. We both started blogs for no reason. None of them were profitable. Katelyn had an apartment blog. I had multiple blogs. And we were always into kind of like content creation and creating and all of this stuff and documenting and sharing it. We loved the sharing of it, the process of sharing it. And, we never thought about YouTube as a career at any point in the past, because it didn't exist. Like, content creation wasn't a thing. But looking back at our lives, like, it was always a dream of ours, even though it was never a dream of ours because it wasn't a possibility. Do you know what I mean?
Right. What kind of things do you do separate from all of this content that you're creating that you don't share with, not to get too personal, things that you don't share with the 28 different channels that you have?
It's mostly like family time. Like we both have a family in Texas, not too far, so we try to see family a lot. Like there's really not a lot of like, we don't have that much personal outside time. Like, we'll go on walks. Like, sometimes we'll watch a show. We got into Squid Game when Squid Game was playing. Like, and so we're like, yes, well, like, we're gonna watch a show. There's not like I mean, there's like normal, like, oh, we're gonna make dinner.
Yeah. But even that, you have cooking on your channel. So I mean, it becomes this thing where you're just like always, whenever you're doing something, do you have this mindset of like, we should be grabbing a camera right now. We could be getting some content out of this.
I think there's only one time where something happened and I had the feeling like I should have grabbed the camera. And it was, and I didn't because I was like in a panic. But this was at our old house, and we woke up to a huge leak, like flowing from the ceiling, water pouring onto our floors. And so in a panic, I like started grabbing buckets and towels and, everything to start cleaning up. And then we had this whole thing of trying to fix the leak. And this was during the Texas ice storms.
Yeah.
So we couldn't like run to the store because the roads were frozen over. So we couldn't run to the store to like get stuff to fix the leaks. So we were just like jerry-rigging stuff we already had in the, in our garage trying to fix this. And I was like, man, it would have been a very interesting vlog.
It would have been a very interesting vlog.
That's where
like
your mind goes.
The whole panic of it all. But like, because we were actually kind of freaking out, my instinct was not to grab the camera. It was only afterwards that we were like, that probably would have been an interesting video.
But we actually tried 2 vlogs or some content that kind of bordered on the edge of vlogs, and we didn't enjoy that a ton. Not that it wasn't enjoyable, but like it wasn't really worth it.
It does, yeah. When we did like experiment with it, it does feel like you're trying to force your day-to-day normal life to be more interesting, and I could see how that could be a slippery path where like around every corner you're like, should I film this? Should I film this? Should I film this? Whereas right now, like I said, we very consciously like, this is a project we're going to tackle, or like this is a game we're going to stream, or this is some off-the-wall thing we want to do. Like we plan when we're going to film it, and we do that,
Yeah. We like putting ourselves in interesting situations that lead to good content, like a lot of when we're doing a project, we have this goal that we want to reach to, and we start not having it, and we work our way towards that, or when
we're making Rice Krispie treats out of hot Cheetos, it's just going to be interesting.
Yeah,
because you don't know how that's going to turn out, and it's much easier for us to think of an interesting scenario and put ourselves in that situation rather than take like normal life and try to force that to be
Right.
interesting to viewers.
Yeah, that's like the whole family vloggers are very good at doing that sort of thing, where they just kind of force content.
Very exhausting.
It does. Yeah, I've seen them reshoot scenes, very natural scenes, several times to get it right, and I think this isn't natural. Yeah. That is not. Yeah. Do you guys ever have to walk a line between? You guys are both doing your professional thing. You're working on this together as a collaboration, and then you have to switch to just a personal life, or is that just all blended together in just one big soup?
It doesn't really ever feel like something we have to like struggle to switch back and forth between. I mean, things are blended in terms of like, we don't have set work hours and set personal hours. Like we do try to stop work at a certain time of the night, but like sometimes we'll in the middle of the day take a longer lunch, or like run errands or whatever, and then we'll work later or whatever.
Well, I had this thought. The reality of life is that most people need to work, and when we worked our old day jobs as a graphic designer and an engineer, would like really try to meet up for lunches. We really liked spending as much time as possible with each other, and when we met at lunch, it took us longer to leave work mode at our old jobs than it does with this life that we're living now. Like, I was at work, and I was doing like, managing schedules and, ordering stuff, and you have these tests coming up, or you're working on these 3D models in your head. And it took me like, I don't even know how long, but it took me a while to like leave that and go into like our life and talk about like, each other and things we're doing, and like get out of that mode. And now we can leave this work mode a lot easier, but we can also enter it a lot easier, because it is more mixed.
I think it's also like, there's definitely parts of our work that feel like work, like,
emails.
But like a lot of the stuff that we do, and I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but a lot of it, like, we are just having fun. Like, we are excited to work on the next project, or try the new game, or start the next channel. Like, we do really get excited about that. And a lot of the stuff that we do for our work now is stuff that we would be doing ideally as hobbies. And so that kind of blends it a little bit.
Yeah.
And not really in a bad way. It's not like, oh, I'm ruining a hobby with work. It's more in a good way. For example, with gaming, we from after college onward, really, we didn't really have time to play video games. It's something that we both used to do a lot.
And the joy of it had kind of like faded.
Yeah, we would try, but the joy of it kind of faded because we're like, oh, we should be doing responsible adult things.
Even in our last job, when we were working our day jobs, we just didn't find as much joy in it.
And so, after our main channel had been established for a little bit, we were like, we could maybe start playing video games again if we trick ourselves into thinking we're being productive.
Right. It's a job.
It means something,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is blendy in a way, but I don't think it's a negative thing. I think it's more like if we didn't make video games part of our work, we might not have brought those back. Our work's kind of like an excuse to do the fun stuff that we want to do anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like making the world's brightest lightsaber. That was just like I just really wanted to do that. Like, do you ever get that itch to just do something? And you're like, this is so like not practical. I just want to do it. And because of our work, I have this like budget and money and time to just like do crazy things. Or like the underwater stream is another example for me. Like, we could have made a much easier video that got the same or more views. I just really wanted to live stream underwater. I just got that like idea in my head, and I just had to do it.
Right.
And I'm glad that we are able to.
It helps that you guys seem to be on the same page with everything, like totally in sync. Is there anything that you guys do separately from each other? Do you have Evan, is there something you do that just doesn't involve Katelyn and vice versa?
Use the restroom.
That's it.
Sorry to bring potty humor.
Until we make our, side by side.
Side by side,
room,
yeah. It's the contractor is getting us a bid.
Man, is it her?
There's work stuff that we kind of divide and conquer on. Like Evan is definitely much more on the tech side of things. So like this streaming room has gone far beyond my understanding. Are you seeing if the secondary camera set up?
I'm just gonna play around with it. Everyone listening to the audio version is missing out.
Yeah, see, they've got a green screen behind you too, so there's flames.
Yeah, I'll reveal the behind the scenes.
That's amazing.
We're not in our workshop.
But yeah, so there's work divide and conquer stuff.
No hobbies or something that you guys just do? Like, I'm going to go hang out with my friends and do this thing and that.
A lot of our, I mean, obviously when we hang out with family, we're both there. Sometimes, like in a little bit, Katelyn's going to go shopping with her mom, and I'm going to play video games with my brother, and that's...
But that's like a once a year occurrence that we split up. It's not, it's really not super frequent. But I think it's because our, we work about 12-ish hour days, 7 days a week. And we have since we started the channel. So like any non-work time, we want to be together because there's not that much non-work together time. So it's like, I don't want to split up. And we do have a lot of like overlapped hobbies.
Yeah.
We just turn them all into work.
Have you guys ever experienced burnout? And do you experience that together with producing this much content?
Yeah.
I feel like
we haven't, like, burnout is a spectrum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there is burnt out, and then there is burnout in my brain.
There's like burnt out and burning out.
Burning out. Yeah. To us, like, we've seen it coming a few times. And there's kind of two causes for that in our experience, in our personal experience. One, when we work too much in too short of a time. That's just burnout that anyone can kind of feel. I think that any job, any person, anywhere can just work too much, and they're just exhausted, and it's just too much. And that's kind of a simpler burnout to deal with because you can hopefully find a way to turn down the work levels. For us, we schedule sponsors pretty far out, and sometimes we'll schedule too many. And, life things will come up, like appendicitis or like, life stuff, moving. And you don't have as much time as you thought, and you end up working too much, and you're too busy. And, for us, we can turn those dials up and down. One dial we turn down is the podcast. Hopefully in the future we'll do some more. But that was just a very easy one to turn down because there's no sponsors.
It's hard to get a podcast to make money. I can attest to that.
Podcasts are great for community building and to get to know people
and to share stories that are hard to share in other formats.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I think podcasts are great.
Yeah,
the story of
for me, it was just a great way to avoid burnout. Something different.
Yeah, that's why we did gaming. Starting a new fun venture.
Mm-hmm.
But the other burnout that I think might be more creator specific. There's probably tons of other professions that experience it, but like when you are like putting out more videos or the same videos and you see your channel starting to fall, or you put a ton of effort into this like video that you absolutely love and it bombs for some reason.
Yeah, when like your expectations / effort don't match up with the reality, even if you're not necessarily overworking, if that happens too many times, you're just like, it's easy to get discouraged.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then that can be burnout inducing.
Start looking at that most recent videos and you get that, 10 out of your last 10. You're like,
pain.
Stop.
Pain.
You get a couple 10s in a row and you're like, channel's dead.
People don't love me anymore. Why?
I think the healing factor for us there is just remembering why we started making videos. To spend time together, to have fun, to like do these projects that we like. Yeah. And sometimes like, like the most recent one, the world's brightest lightsaber. I mentioned it. It's one of the worst performing videos we've done recently, but I don't care. I loved it. I had so much fun. I just wanted to do it. And if you're doing videos for that reason, then even if it's number 10, you're like, oh well, I had fun.
Absolutely.
I think it would be a lot harder if you did a video because you're like, okay, I'm not super into it, but it's trending right now, and so like I'm gonna do this thing that I don't actually want to do, and I'm gonna put all this work into
10.
it, and then it's number 10. Then you didn't even have fun,
It's like in your face.
Giving away $1 million.
Yeah, that's brutal.
But it's I think that we've always been aware of the problem of burnout because so many people before us have experienced that. We tend to like watch most of those videos and see like, are there any things that we're doing that might lead us down that path or what have you? And then we try to like, keep that at bay preventatively through all those ways that we talked about.
Yeah, it comes and goes. I've been doing it 14 years on YouTube, and it definitely cycles through those periods. So, Katelyn, you mentioned some of the strengths that Evan brings to the table here. I want you to expand on that. Tell me really what are his strong points, and then Evan, I want to ask you the same question. Yeah. What does she bring to the table on these projects?
So Evan is very like his engineer brain is very, very strong and like pictures things in ways that mine does not.
I'm just always 3D modeling in my head.
Evan's always 3D modeling in his head.
You've got Fusion 360 up in there somewhere.
Exactly. Like my way of picturing things or describing things is much more like, I can kind of see it in my head or like Photoshop something together. But in order to make like the vision of a reality and actually come up with like a cut list and a step-by-step, like his brain is very, very good at doing that. And so for the projects, that's obviously a huge strength. But then also on like the tech side of things and all the back end side of things, Evan, you were always into like photography even back in college, but now that has expanded to videography and lighting and streaming gear and like audio equipment.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
he gets very into it, and a lot of it it's not my natural interest, and so like going down into the rabbit holes that you have to go down in order to do some of the stuff we want to do. I don't know. Just props to you. I'm glad that you enjoy it because that would be definitely a struggle for me.
Yeah, I think that from that point of view, I always want to make the process easier and more seamless and less painful. So like, finding a camera that has an unlimited record length or a mic that is better, that doesn't require Katelyn to post-process it as much, or a green screen that's better that doesn't have the fuzzy edges as much, so that there's, less editing or what have you. Anything that makes the process easier and less painful. That's my main focus for all of this, so that we just sit down, press the button, and it just works.
So you're the analytical guy. So what's Katelyn's features?
She brings order to the chaos that is my brain.
Would you say that she is more of the right brain thinker and you're a left brain thinker?
No, not necessarily. I think we're both a bit of both, and we both like, I don't know, because like Evan is very like, he has the engineering mind, he has the technological mind, but his brain is also in like 100 different places at once, and you'd probably like start a bunch of things and not finish them.
Oh yeah.
And I'm more like detail oriented, and
so you can keep everybody on track here, getting these things done.
Well, and I'm the risky one too. So like I like just what was the first like woodworking making meetup that I signed us up for as speakers?
Oh, like Workbench Con?
Workbench Con, yeah. It's like, I saw that. I thought that'd be a good like thing for us, like to grow, to meet new people, to get out in the community some more and everything. And I just thought it'd be interesting for us to try doing like public speaking. So I was like, hey, Katelyn, there's a Workbench Con. Let's sign up as speakers. And she's like, and I just kind of like, I kind of like push us into things, and then Katelyn makes them better, like makes them work.
Had you both done public speaking before that, or is that something that, Katelyn, were you just thrust into the situation and had to deal with it?
I mean, beyond giving like class presentations in college, or like, speaking at a meeting here or there at my old job, no, not really any public speaking.
Yeah. And then like, I think that Katelyn, without like the huge thing that Katelyn does, I think specifically for this channel, just like getting really practical, is like I like editing. Editing is so important for YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And I could not do it. I couldn't sit still long enough. I would call it done way too early. Katelyn refines and refines and refines, and she'll watch something multiple times, and she has that grit to like stick through the edit and refine it to the point where it's shiny. Where I just excuse me, I had a cough. I just don't have that grit in some ways to do it, or I just don't have enough interest to like naturally make that happen. And our videos are what we're making. Like the projects are great and everything, like, but for us, I know that like for some channels they really love what they're making, like the projects, but for us what we really love are the videos.
Right, that's what pays the bills.
But even
it's
just
not
like
even just that, just like creatively, like the fact that we get to make a video about a project makes the project more fun. Like there's so many times where like something unexpected will happen or something will go wrong, and it's like, man, if we weren't making a video about this, it would really suck. But since we're making a video, this is going to be like a fun twisty turn, or like the story we're telling with this project and with this video.
Yeah. And like also, if it wasn't for the videos, a lot of these projects wouldn't be as meaningful to me, honestly. Like, one of the reasons why we do some of this is because it means something to not just us, but to a lot of other people. It wasn't something that we really expected when we went into this, but like, when we see comments like, I was having a bad day and then your video helped cheer me up, or like, I'm always so excited to watch your videos, or something like that. It's nice that we're putting like good energy out there into the world. It just makes us feel good, and it's meaningful. It's definitely like a part of why, the motivations behind why we do some of this. And
great job on the editing, by the way. You do all the editing yourself, Katelyn.
So we just Okay, it's evolving. So, for the majority of our main channel edits, it has been me.
195 videos.
Something like that.
Katelyn has edited.
For our gaming channel, we knew starting that I wouldn't have time to edit those. So we hired some people to edit our gaming videos for us. Mm-hmm. And just recently, we've started experimenting with having them edit some second channel and main channel content. Mm-hmm. So, so I'm doing some, and the editors are doing some just in the past, like, month or so, month or two.
One of our editors has been with us for 3 years editing our gaming videos. And like after 3 years of like knowing your humor and your how you create content and stuff, it was a really smooth transition into editing the main channels, because like I think that it would have been really painful to bring someone on board fresh and like kind of teach them our style, our humor.
Well, and we didn't have time for that, because if we one to hand an edit off to someone else, like I want to give them a lot more time to edit it than I give myself, because we're not gonna expect anyone to like work the same hours that we work. So we'd have to be able to do the project far in advance, one, to give them enough time, but two, like if we were trying someone new for an edit and it didn't work out, then I'd still have to go and edit it. So it wasn't until just recently that we were actually it clicked that like we should see if the gaming editors want to edit the main channel, but the more important thing is we were able to get ahead enough that we could give them an edit with enough time before the sponsor deadline so that they wouldn't be rushed.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't been making podcasts recently, because it does take time, because we need to film a video that Katelyn can edit, and then film another video that an editor can edit farther along, and then we need to like do a lot more pre-work that'll have payoff later. But if we don't have enough time to get the payoff later, it needs to be now, then we always just need to be running on that treadmill, you know? So we kind of are like, okay, we're gonna have to really, cut things out and settle in again to get far enough ahead to make time for ourselves eventually later.
Yeah. How do you strategize your content amongst all these? I guess the bigger question is here. Okay, let me look at these channels you've got. You've got Evan and Katelyn, Evan and Katelyn 2, Evan and Katelyn Uncut, Evan and Katelyn Gaming, Evan and Katelyn Gaming Uncut, Evan and Katelyn Podcast, Evan and Katelyn Clips. What is the strategy for why divide all those up into so many micro channels like that? Is there? I don't think I've ever known another channel. I mean, they have other channels, but to have divided them up between content this much,
Four are easy. So Evan and Katelyn, that's what we started with.
Right.
Mostly like project-y type videos where there's a payout at the end. Gaming, obviously, we started gaming because it's so different from Evan and Katelyn. Gaming Uncut was a extension of that, because we stream on Twitch the games, and then we put the edits on YouTube. But then a lot of people were wanting the full archives of the streams too. So we made Evan and Katelyn.
Why not put that on the regular gaming channel though? I guess that's what I'm kind of getting at.
Because
there's different audiences. Some people like the long form 3-hour unedited streams, and some people like the 15 to 20 minute short snappy videos. And it also, because the edits would take a lot longer to come out, sometimes we worried that it would be confusing if there was like Minecraft Part 1 and then a month later, 2 months later, Minecraft Part 1 again, but it's just like the edited version. Like it seemed kind of confusing. And so we just decided early on to split them.
And in my head looking back, that was so the right decision for us at the moment and everything, and long term. Also, I think that, as these channels develop, the edited and the unedited, if we ever did sponsors or whatever, the views will be in line per channel. Because like, working with sponsors, they always like to like look at your videos, and if it's a tight range, they usually, know what to expect, and it's kind of a more safer bet. But if you have a big range, then sometimes they might want view guarantees, or you have to negotiate more and have to reassure them, no, this video is going to be a good video, right. or what have you. And I think that having it in separate channels, is just good for all those different reasons.
And there's a similar logic for Evan and Katelyn 2 and Evan and Katelyn Uncut. So we used to just use our second channel for random stuff. And when we started streaming things that weren't games, like we started streaming craft videos, we were like, well, we don't really have a channel for that. It doesn't go on Gaming Uncut because it's not gaming. So we'll just put it on the second channel. And we started doing a few of those. But then we got into the conundrum of like, well, what if we want to edit some of these into shorter, more digestible videos? Is that confusing to put them on the same channel? Because for our gaming content, it's separate. And so once we started doing edited videos on the second channel, then we made Evan and Katelyn Uncut for the non-gaming live stream archives. And so we just kind of tried to follow the same model. And then the other two channels are the podcast. So we wanted that to be its own thing. And then the clips channel, which is just clips from all of our channels.
And I think that one thing that kind of gave us a little bit of confidence to just make that many channels is because in some ways it's a sad thing that the subscription feed, the whole subscriptions don't mean as much as they used to.
Don't mean anything.
I think that everyone's realizing that. All the creators are realizing that, and it's kind of like a sad thing in some ways, because most people go to the home, YouTube pushes the home, and the home is what YouTube thinks that you would like, not as much your subscriptions. I mean, I'm subscribed to so many channels, and I never see them on my homepage. I mean, that's just the reality of how it is.
But the plus side of
the plus side is you can start more channels, and then the algorithm will detect, okay, this group of people and this group of people share this like same audience. It's like, oh, so many people that watch Evan and Katelyn are watching this one video. I should push it to all the people that, watch Evan and Katelyn, and it just, there are some advantages of it. The subscription.
We found that it's been less painful than we expected to start a new channel from scratch and start posting there, because the algorithm is pretty good at showing our audience those videos. Now
it's
still kind of painful.
Yeah, you are more reliant on the algorithm a ton, and it's 100% helps having subscribers. But every now and then you can count on the algorithm really swinging for you. Like when we did our second Evan and Katelyn Uncut video, the channel had like 2,000 subscribers or so, and we ended up getting 162,000 views on that video, because the algorithm recognized the overlap and the signals and stuff like that, and it was able to push it out to that broad of an audience.
Yeah, I would imagine since the subscriber metric is getting less and less important on YouTube, and YouTube is starting to look more and more like television, that it will get to the point where a channel is more like a TV channel where there's different shows within that channel, rather than dividing these up into multiple channels. I think eventually it's going to get to that point. It's not quite there yet, but at least it's my theory.
Yeah, I could see that. And I know some people have, for example, like Bob from I Like to Make Stuff has like his bit series where it's branded very differently. And I think at some point he mentioned that like he's, will sell sponsorships for those videos differently than, his main channel videos. And so I think some people are able to like brand off a series within the same channel. I think for us it was just easier, and I think one of the biggest things is having things as separate channels allowed us to not be as fearful about posting something that is more out of the blue. Like we stressed so much. We stressed so much about like the first time we posted cooking videos on our main channel, because we're like, oh, this is so weird. Like, should we just post it on the second channel? Will it get any views on the second channel? Like, it's a good video, but it's like so off the wall. And they did like, okay on the main channel, not super great, which is fine. But now that we have the second channel, we've been posting our like cooking related videos there, and it's just so not a worry. Because we don't have to worry like, oh, is this gonna affect our main channel views? Are people gonna if there's too many videos in a row where we're shown to a viewer and they decide not to click on it because it's like a little off the wall, is the algorithm going to stop showing that viewer our videos? So it just made it easier for us to pursue the types of videos we wanted without that added layer of stress of like how it would affect our overall channel health.
And I think it's also because like on the main channel, I mean, we have kind of like we use Airtable to organize all of our ideas and stuff like that. And under our ideas tab, we have 489 ideas, all ranked with like our excitement level, notes, type, status, all that stuff. And, we have so many main channel videos that we're excited about that we also think would do well. So it's hard to choose like a video that we aren't as like, if 5-star excitement for a main channel video, and then we have this other video that like we're super excited about, but we just don't think it's going to perform as well. It's so great having that second channel to be able to like share that video without the fear, and then we can still choose our 5-star main channel ideas, for our main channel. Right. It all just works out really, really naturally. We kind of get to like have our cake and eat it too. I'm not sure if that fully makes sense.
I think,
but like that's what it feels like.
You'll probably get over the fear of worrying about things. I just dump everything on one channel. I'm like, here, you watch it or don't watch it. I don't care. That doesn't affect me. I don't know.
Yeah, every now and then I'll have the thought of like, wouldn't that just be simpler? But
I've never noticed it to affect anything. If people don't watch I think our natural reaction is, well, if people don't watch a certain type of video, that's the end of the channel. It's like, well, no, they just don't watch. I think we think our audience is more attached to what we're doing on every single video than they really are. I think especially now, since it's all just kind of what's next, watch late, the watch recommended and all that. Yeah. I want to talk about your cat.
Joobie.
So you did recently you did the catio, which is beautiful, and it's really, really cool because last year I did a whole cat runway system in our dining room throughout the house where they could run up and all around the ceiling, and it was like the best thing I ever did for those cats. I mean, they just absolutely love it. And it's so much fun to watch them just race around that thing. Do you have any more? And I know you've done a number of cat projects. I always like those. Mm-hmm. Do you have anything new coming up as far as that?
There's I don't know if there's any that are solid. We have some ideas of things we want to tackle, but I don't know if they're like officially on the schedule.
I want to do a buy versus DIY cat tree.
Oh yeah, we have a series called Buy vs DIY where we will like try to make something we see for sale. So we'll try to do our own version, and then we'll buy the thing and see like how close we got to it. So we want to do a cat tree in that format because there's some like really fancy cat trees.
Yeah. And then we'll end up with 2 cat trees, and we can put one in one place, one in the other, and then
exactly.
It's like it's just win-win-win for everyone, including the supervisor.
Yeah. So there's like a handful of ideas. Sometimes we're hesitant to like say ideas.
Yeah, because
if
like
they're not official.
Then
because
everyone's going to be asking about the buy versus DIY cat tree for a year until we do it.
I know.
Right.
So, but there are a lot. Like I feel like we always go back to cat projects because they're just so fun to make. Even if she only likes some of them, it's just like such a fun process to see if she's going to use it, And when she really does, it's like very joy-inducing when she actually really likes something.
Yeah, and she's been out on the catio like
every day.
A lot.
Oh, they love it.
And the strangest thing is in this catio, what we did is underneath it, we set up solar-powered floodlights underneath the catio, shining out into the yard. So then
she could see things at night.
She can see things at night, and she's been out there almost every night and evening. She likes it at night some of the most.
Yeah.
Just because like I think that she feels super protected in the dark, and yet she can spy on all the things.
Have you seen Half Asleep Chris? YouTube channel.
Yeah, such a cute channel.
Yes.
I love his cat
His videos
videos.
are so cute.
Yeah.
The cat with the
I know his catio with the
It's
like
big.
the action run and all that.
Yeah.
Or what I forget how he titled it.
Like
it
Adventure
was
Playground.
The Adventure Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
And he's been doing some crazy Lego videos.
Oh, yeah,
recently.
the
Like,
Lego
oh my
stuff.
gosh, the train tracks and all of
Yeah.
that. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking to him next week or the week after. I forget on my other podcast. So I'm looking forward to that. That'll be fun.
That's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you ever watch Kittysaurus? You got to see Kittysaurus.
I think
That
you
sounds.
might have seen some.
It's
think we've seen Kittysaurus.
Korean channel. She's got like 7 cats, and they all have their own personalities. And so I actually
Yes!
I got some of the ideas for my whole cat runway system from there, including the little plastic bubble that a couple of her cats will sleep. Our cats don't use it, so I don't know what to. You never know.
Oh yeah, ours didn't either. We
Yeah.
made a bubble.
Yeah, I
and
wanted to do that.
she just doesn't trust the invisibility of it.
Yeah.
She couldn't like settle down into it. She's like, is it like
Yeah.
Does
what's
this
going
exist?
on? Like she doesn't understand the clearness of it. Yeah, but
Yeah, we have watched
Kittysaurus,
some of
we
these.
watched some of those.
Yeah, those are really
So
cute.
cute.
One of the things I
Super
learned
cute
about
cat.
making cat stuff is how much cats enjoy different textures. Because I always thought, oh, we have to make everything soft for them. It's like, well, humans like that, but cats kind of like to lay down on rocks and things like that are just different, you know. And so we tried to put like hard pieces on there, and they like it. Yeah.
What if we just do like a video where we do a whole bunch of surfaces?
Yeah.
Let's see
Oh,
what
that'd be
you like.
great. Test it out. See which
Yeah.
one Joobie likes. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That is awesome. What are some of the long-term goals for your channel and your brand? I guess I should say your brand because you've got so many different channels.
I think the main thing that like I'm kind of focusing on now long term is just that balance. I mean, we like all the videos we're doing on all the channels. I think the last big like unknown that we were kind of struggling with is, do we create Evan and Katelyn Uncut, and how is that launch going to work, and how like, you know, like, are we going to do it or not, basically?
Yeah.
And we did it, and it's doing well. We've only done like one video that's on both, but like in my brain, it's already been like a good decision. I want to build up those channels a little bit more to like establish what each is, so that it has that catalog kind of like, oh, this is what the channel is. You know, like we launched Evan and Katelyn with 4 videos already done, and I just want to put more videos out on Evan and Katelyn Uncut to establish what type of channel that is. But once we're done like kind of, you know, finalizing Evan and Katelyn 2, Evan and Katelyn Uncut, I'll just speak for myself. I'm really happy with where things are at. And then once we have enough free time, we're probably going to like get settled in this house.
Yeah,
Like,
congratulations on that, by the way. I love the new shop. That is a huge shop. It's like a 3-car garage. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you know, we've gotten all of the work stuff set up. Yeah, we haven't really like settled into the house in terms of just us, and that may not be something that we film or turn into content.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like next on the radar for us, the big
Yeah.
thing.
So I guess it's not super long term. It's like short and medium term. And I think that's because the long term, it's just very loose. Like we
like course correcting all the time, but in the like 1 month, 3 month, 6 month range, maybe the year range. And that's kind of what we've been doing per year. Each year, we kind of have a stage of our YouTube journey that we kind of like, it's kind of clearly defined by year almost.
yeah,
And,
where we're like really focusing on one thing or 2 things that year to change.
Yeah, and this year is kind of not working as long per day and per
That kind of was going to be, and then we moved. And
then we moved.
like,
Okay, but so 2021 was the year of moving. 2022 is going to be getting weekends and evenings.
That's our goal. So yeah, again, not super long term, but I think it can be, at least for us, hard to look too far in the future because we've already done so many things that we're really happy about that like we weren't planning when we started the channel, like starting the gaming channel or like doing a lot of the like more random stuff we've been doing on the second channel. Like that wasn't necessarily
in our
a clear-cut
heads,
goal. It just kind of evolved that way. So I think I think the main clear-cut goal is we want to have a slightly better work-life balance.
Yeah. I think that's everybody. Everybody seems to be trying for that goal, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that the editors will help a decent amount.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, because that's one of the biggest single time sucks that exists in our life.
Yeah.
The editing, and then the filming. But we like the filming too, and Katelyn likes the editing too. But if we can pass along some of that workload, I think that'll be really good.
Mm-hmm.
You guys looking forward to the holidays coming up?
Yeah.
Do you have any traditions, anything you guys like to do around Christmas time?
Well, we usually celebrate with both of our families,
Mm-hmm.
so we get 2 Thanksgivings, 2 Christmases.
That's always fun.
It's always fun. We're always so stuffed at the end of it. We usually, on my family, we usually open up one present each on Christmas Eve, which is kind of a fun little thing. Usually it's like a toy or something like that. There aren't as many toys we get these days.
Yeah.
Your toy is like some random adapter, and you're like,
yeah, adapter.
No one else knows what it is.
I just put obscure work stuff on my Christmas list. But I think that one of the big things about the holidays is it kind of forces us to slow down and take some breaks. So the lead up to the holidays is often like a little bit like, oh boy, gotta knock out some work to free up a little bit of time.
Especially since those CPMs are so much higher this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's something that we kind of forget about until January when it goes down, and we're like, oh
December.
yeah, December was really good.
Yeah,
because
that's when you start to
things...
see YouTubers cranking out those videos in December. Like, oh yeah.
I know. No, we could there's so many channels that do like the Vlogmas or things like that. That sounds so exhausting. Like December's already crazy, so I think if anything we pull back a little bit in December despite the CPMs just to save our sanity.
Yeah, but we're gonna try to pull back a little bit in January's when we can too, and maybe plan out a little bit better next year. But like we said, we usually schedule what we think is going to be a reasonable schedule. Sometimes 6 months, sometimes a year in advance with our sponsors. So our schedule, we kind of we pretty much stick to it and adjust it kind of as we go as we can. But usually we don't have any time for any extra December videos.
You have any Christmas plans?
For the channel? For videos?
Or just, stuff you're looking forward to?
Nothing too exciting. We keep it pretty low-key around here. It's just the 3 of us, but I've got a Christmas project I'm making right now, but I just am... Yeah, I don't change anything. I always kind of feel that little bit of I'm missing out around December, that I'm not producing enough content, because everybody's like, oh, you got to get on. You got to produce a lot of content in December. I don't know. I'll do my podcast.
Too much stress.
Yeah.
But
unless you're somehow able to pre-film it during a time of year that isn't as crazy, maybe other people are just more on top of things and they can really load up in October, and then publish it, but we're just not that ahead of things.
You have a different hairstyle. You have your shop's changed and everything.
I know. I actually do some continuity things like that though when I'm shooting videos. Sometimes I'll wear the same shirt for a few days in a row because I'm like, well, it doesn't make sense that I would change the shirt in the middle of something here. So it's kind of,
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes your whole day is the part of the project that gets montaged.
Right.
And so in video time, it's not too long, but in real life, it's cutting and a glue up.
Yeah.
And that took you a few hours in the day, but then you had to wait a long time. And then it just doesn't seem long enough in video time to justify the outfit change.
I wonder how much people actually notice though, because we try to do that too. Sometimes we're we're kind of filming this as one continual scene. It would be weird if our shirts changed. Let's change back into those shirts. But I'm how often do people notice?
No.
Do I notice in other
don't.
channels? Probably
That
not.
just adds to the quirkiness of the videos, right?
Okay, so what we should do in our next video, we should change shirts every scene.
Every scene, every cut.
Just and we have we'll bring one of those rolling wardrobes out to the garage, with all of our outfits, and we'll change it every cut.
not acknowledge it at all.
Just no, not at
That
all.
would actually be
Don't
an
mention
interesting kind of psychological experiment. See if anybody notices, because you've seen those before where like guys are playing basketball and a gorilla walks between them and you don't
I
notice.
was about to bring up that one.
Yeah.
That one's the best one.
And nobody notices.
It's like you watched the video. Did you see the gorilla?
Yes.
No, I didn't. Hey, you guys, I want to congratulate you on the success of your channel. You guys are killing it over there. You're getting some amazing views on, well, your channel, all of your channels really doing really, really well. And I wish you all the success in the new year. And I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of the Woodworking Talk Show.
Well,
Thanks
thank
so
you
much, and thanks for having us. It was great.
you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. And thanks for listening, everybody. I'll see you next time.